welcome to Family Sundays Online with the Rubin Museum of Art. I'm Becky, and we are a museum of Himalayan art and ideas in New York City. And this fall, we're continuing our online series of family programs. This is our second one. We're holding these programs every first Sunday of the month. And it's really great to have folks joining us. No matter how big or small the crowd is, we're just so thrilled to be making art together online. So today's workshop, we're going to start by looking at a piece from our collection, and then I'll take any questions you have through our chat function. And then we're gonna work with an amazing teaching artist to actually make some art inspired by the art that we're looking at together. This is the Hindu deity Ganesh. And so the first thing that people usually notice about Ganesh is that he has the body of a person, of a human, and a head of an elephant. So that's something a little bit different, right? So I'm going to tell the story of why he has an elephant head. He's actually the son of Shiva, who is the Hindu god of destruction and transformation. It's very powerful, and Parvati. And Ganesh himself is actually known as the removal of obstacles or challenges. So a person can ask Ganesh for a blessing before a really important event in their life, or something that's challenging that's going to be happening. They can ask for help from Ganesh. And there's a lot of stories about how Ganesh came to have his elephant head, but one really popular story and common story says that Parvati, his mother, created him out of dirt to protect her while Shiva was away. So Shiva was gone, but then Shiva came home, and Ganesh had never met Shiva. He didn't know his father, and he didn't want to let him in because he didn't know who Shiva was. So Shiva got really angry because he just wanted to come home. And he got so angry, and he was so surprised that he actually cut off Ganesh's head. So then he realized what he'd done, and he was so panicked and surprised, and he didn't know what to do. So he brought Ganesh back to life, and he had to give him a head. So he ended up just giving him an elephant head. And it turns out that was actually a pretty good move on the part of Shiva, because Ganesh's new really big ears have been a huge help to him. They allow him to hear all the needs of the people asking for his help, for his blessings. And he brings good luck to people. He helps destroy obstacles that are in the way of people achieving goals. And it's also this well-known fact, not so much a secret, that he really loves sweets and candy. So before we start talking about the art that you can make based on this art piece, I want to talk a little bit about the statue. So this is actually a really big statue, and right now it's in the lobby of our museum. So if you go to the museum, you can actually see it in person. And you might notice that Ganesh also has multiple arms. Sometimes he has 4 arms, sometimes he has 8 arms, and he's holding a lot of things, right? So some of the things that he'll hold, remember I mentioned he has a really big love of sweets. So sometimes he'll be holding a sweet called laddu, and they're kind of round. Sometimes they'll be placed at his feet, but those are something that you can usually find with him. And sometimes he'll be holding rope to help pull people up closer to like godliness. And then sometimes he'll be holding an axe, and he is holding an axe in this image, in this statue. And that's to help like cut through being attached or really connected to to things and desires. So it's a really great big statue, and it's so wonderful to be able to visit it. I'm going to bring on our teaching artist for the day. Her name is Natanel, and she is so amazing. Thank you so much for being here with us. I'm going to hand it over to you to talk a little bit about how we can be inspired to make art from looking at this beautiful art piece. So thank you so much.
Great, thank you so much, Becky. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here today. I hope you're safe and well, and I wanted to start by saying that I'm really just happy to be back in the Family Sunday program online, and I can't wait to see familiar faces and everybody when we get back into the Education Center. So I wanted to quickly speak a little bit more about and expand what Becky was saying, and then we'll get started with our art project for the day. So the project we're going to be making is called Glorious Ganesh, and today we'll be getting to make a flip book together. So a traditional flip book is a booklet that has many images that change from one page to the next. And I actually have one that I made that I could show you. So this one is pretty different from what we're going to be making today, but just to show you how images can change from one page to the next over time. It's pretty tricky sometimes to get them to actually flip, but let's see. Yeah, so many of the most powerful deities in our museum collection are hybrid creatures. So an example that Becky just spoke about is Ganesh, a human and elephant hybrid. And we also have Naga, a human-like figure with snakes that come out of its head, and Garuda, a bird and human hybrid. So today, what we're going to be doing is creating our own hybrid creatures, and there can be endless combinations and powers, and the only limit is your imagination. So what I want you to think about is some of your favorite animals, and I want you to focus on the characteristics that define each animal. So a camel, for example, its hump is defined, or a frog, its fingers are defined, even an alligator's head. Its face is kind of like pointed in a triangular direction. And so with that, I want to move over to our art making project, and let's get started. Okay, so for today, the materials we will be needing are paper, so about 2 to 3, even 4 sheets of paper, and we want them to all be the same size. So take a moment to grab the materials that you need. I'll be going over the rest of the materials. So paper, we have a ruler, some scissors, glue. Glue works really well, or a stapler, or if you have needle and thread, that would be great as well. And then a pencil and some markers. Any markers that you have work really well. And then we would also be able to use colored pencils. And if you don't have pencils, you can replace them with markers or just pencils if you have. And so with that, let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is grab your sheets of paper, and we can fold them and crease them lightly. Just to hold it down. And then if you don't have a stapler, glue works really well. So I'm going to glue mine, and I will also staple it. So it helps if you start with the back, and then you can take another sheet of paper and then add more glue. And then I will also staple it. So you could staple it once at the top, once in the center, and then once at the bottom. And now we've created our spine of the book. And so then what we can do is fold each page to get to the back of the book. And now once we're at the back of the book, we will want to take our ruler and we want to measure and equally separate the booklet. And what we want to do is grab our pencil and make 3 markings. And then it would be really helpful to do that as well on the other side. And I'm going to actually do this with a marker so you can see my lines, but you should do it with a pencil. And then I'm also going to do it on the other side so I can connect my horizontal lines. And then what you can do is take a pencil and connect the lines just like this. And the next step is to grab scissors and flip your book over and then cut along the lines that you made. And I would cut all the way to the end and then cut again. Okay, so now you'll see that you have created your flip book. And the next step is to open to your last page. And I want you to think about the animal that you're going to be drawing on this page. We want to draw the head and the neck on the top flap, and then you want to draw the hips, right, and the belly and the center of the animal in the middle flap, and then the bottom you can do the legs or the tail of your animal. So what really helps is to actually draw guidelines, and the top where you want to connect your neck to your body, you can make a guideline. So I will make mine kind of this wide and separated, and then at the bottom I might make them a little bit smaller. And then what you can do is turn over your top flap, and then the line that you created at the bottom can be added to the top. So then you have your guideline for the next page. And then you can also do that for the center. So bring in your middle flap, and then, oh, there we go. Can be kind of tricky. Okay. And so hopefully now you'll see guidelines on every one of your flaps. Okay. So now what we want to do is start thinking about the animals that we would like to add and draw. So I think for the first one, I am going to draw a seahorse. And then I'll flip to the next page. And on this page, I am going to draw an elephant. I got my elephant on this page, and then on this page, I'll draw a snake. Bit of a funky snake. And then on the last page, I'll go ahead and draw a frog. And then what you want to do is color each animal. And you can use your markers or colored pencils or even pastels if you have them, and color in each animal on each page. And then you can also add a background to each animal. So maybe you have a koala that you're drawing and you want it to be riding a bicycle or holding a bag, or maybe it has a friend with it, so another animal on the side. So then that way you can just color the background, and even later on make a cover for your book if you'd like. So for now, unless we have any questions, we can get started with coloring.
that you can also join us next month on November 1st is the first Sunday of the month. And we'll be doing a workshop called Flying Dias at 1 p.m. on Zoom. And our website for that will be going live soon. We'll be sending out an email and also posting on social media about how to register for that in the coming weeks. And we're just really excited for our next Family Sunday. We hope to see you in person soon.